Flags are a piece of fabric used by governments to show unity within the territory that they govern. Flags are used not just to represent governments, but also people who live in the area and what they value. America has 13 stripes for the 13 original colonies. Wales has a dragon to reflect its mythology, and the colors of the Ukrainian flag represent skies and wheat fields. Though Wings of Fire is not occupied by people, and it is occupied by dragons, they still have governments, that being the dragon tribe/kingdoms. Each dragon kingdom is incredibly unique in their appearance, power, and culture. Seeing that, I decided to make Wings of Fire flags based off of the dragons of each tribe. Before we get started, if you are new to this channel, please think about subscribing. I regularly post both Wings of Fire and WordCats content, so you'll never be bored. And to my current subscribers, thank you so much for supporting me. I wouldn't have gotten here without y'all. Now, without further ado, here are the flags and my creative process while making them. Firstly, the Mudwings. The Mudwing flag came to me pretty clear. I wanted it to represent unity, as a core part of Mudwing culture is the bonds between the big wings and their siblings. I first had a flock of birds, however Mudwings aren't as agile as birds, so it'd be weird to use them as a symbol. Birds also more so represent freedom more than anything else. I decided to change it to a bunch of eggs, a reference to the fertility of Mudwings, and also the unity that causes them to be sibs in the first place. One of them is red as well, hinting at the Mudwing's secret power of fire resistance. Most of the flag is yellow, representing pride in being a Mudwing and the joy of being in a community. The corners are brown, representing the mud that is obviously in the Mud Kingdom. Next up are the Sandwings. The Sandwing flag was a little bit more complex. I knew I wanted the yellow or gold on it to symbolize the wealth of the Sand Kingdom and the color of their territory, the deserts. I knew just having it be yellow with a stripe would be boring, so I looked into important Sandwing symbols. I settled on the small statue of the Lazuli dragon. The Lazuli dragon is one of the Sandwing treasures, and it was important enough that it was theorized to be what is needed to end the war by Sunny. There is no canon description of it that I'm aware of, so I decided for it to be of a dragon bowing. Now it's time for the Seawings. The Seawing flag was obvious to me. I wanted it to have waves on it, as the Seawings live below the waves. I decided on this pattern repeating across the middle of the flag, which I totally did not rip from the advertising material of a college I applied to. I put the area below the wave as blue, which is the color of sea and wisdom. I put the wave as a thin line of green, which is the color of the few islands that the Seawings have. And lastly, the area above the wave is yellow to represent wealth and sunlight, and also the bioluminescent light that comes from Seawing scales. The Skywing tribe was also rather easy to figure out. The first segment I came up with was the two triangles on the sides. They are slanted to the middle, which leads one's gaze to the center. They are red, representing violence, and the scale color of the Skywings. The middle triangle is blue. It represents the sky itself, as the tribe is called the Skywings. In the center, I put a yellow flame, representing the fire that Skywings breathe, and yellow is also another possible Skywing scale color. When it comes to the Icewings, I knew I wanted to have the circles represented in some way. At first, I thought of putting them in a chain, but I knew that would just make the flag look like the Olympics flag. I decided instead to have one singular circle, representing the overwhelming power of the first circle, and it also looks like a moon. On the sides are two stripes, locking the first circle in. These stripes are like pillars, and they represent order. Both the moons and the pillars are white. That is because white is usually associated with order. It is also the color of the Ice Kingdom. Finally, there's the background behind the first circle/moon. It is blue to represent wisdom, the sky, and the sea. The Nightwings were honestly the hardest tribe I made a flag for. The symbols I wanted to use for them were obvious. I wanted to use stars and moons, but there are just so many combinations of them that I wasn't sure how to do it. Before I figured out how I wanted to position them, I had to figure out which Nightwings I was making flags for. Was it the occupied Nightwings, Darkstalker's Night Kingdom, or Renewal? I ultimately decided on Renewal, Fierce Chief's settlement in the Old Kingdom of Night. From there, I decided on having 3 moons, as the Nightwings get their power from the 3 moons. I made 2 smaller and the one in the center larger. As for the stars, I initially had them diagonally, with one in the upper left and the other on the lower right. I ended up with 4 stars in the end though. I decided to make the flag black and white, as black and white stands out and looks bold. Fierce Teeth likes standing out, so it fits in perfectly with her. Finally, we have the Rainwings. I knew I wanted a rainbow flag, as the Rainwings are able to change the color scales to all colors of the rainbow. However, using a simple rainbow flag would mean that I would be using the pride flag. Even though the pride flag does not exist within Wings of Fire, I don't want to rip off an already existing flag. I first decided to use flowers, as they are colorful and important in Rainwing culture, as many characters, including Glory, are named after flowers. Yes, Glory is named after a flower, the Morning Glory. Flowers are also so important that they are literally used in royal challenges. But it didn't end up looking so good, so I tried layering leaves to represent the trees in the rainforest. As I was layering them, I realized that there was a much more simple solution. Just make the layers out of Rainwing scales, which are multicolored. And so I made the flag out of Rainwing scales. The red represents violence, orange bravery, yellow joy and the wealth of the rainforest, green the forest itself, blue is for the sky, which you get the rays of the sun from, and purple is for royalty. And the scales, of course, represent the Rainwings themselves. Those were all the flags I made today. Comment which flag was your favorite down below. Also, please let me know if you want to see more, as I think making flags for the Pantala tribes, assorted factions, and some ancient tribes would be interesting to do as well. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe. I make Wings of Fire and Warrior Cats videos pretty often, and your support would mean a lot to me. And to those who've already subscribed, thank you for your continued support. I wouldn't have gotten here without y'all. Peace, Rogan out.